Let's bring in Mark Dubowitz. He's the chief executive of the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies. You were in Israel just recently. You got back last week. You met with leaders. You met with the Israeli public. What was your sense of where this whole thing is and where it's going?
Well, John, what I saw were Israeli people who obviously have been traumatized by what happened on October 7th, but are resolved to take this to the end because they understand that unless the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces, dismantles Hamas's terror infrastructure and removes Hamas from governing Gaza, they'll never be safe again. So they want to see their hostages out, they want to see their loved ones out, but they understand that the Israeli Defense Forces has to return to operations.
All right, so this White House seems to be of a different mind, though. Blinken is there, and one of the things that he wants to do is he wants to try to talk Benjamin Netanyahu into a lengthy ceasefire. I don't know what kind of time frame he's looking at, but John Kirby said a few minutes ago, we got 7 days, looking forward to 8, 9, 10, and beyond. So obviously there's a lot of pressure coming from this administration on Israel to maybe make this ceasefire permanent. But is there any way that the Israeli leadership would agree to that?
There's no way. I mean, if Prime Minister Netanyahu agreed to that, it'd be the end of his government. The overwhelming majority of Israelis realize they need to continue this. And you're right, but I think President Biden is trying to drip the Israelis into a permanent ceasefire, which would leave Hamas standing. Hamas is the winner, and Hamas has promised publicly to do October 7th over and over and over again.
I mean, there's no way that Hamas is going to play nice with Israel. I mean, look what happened today with that shooting at the bus stop in Jerusalem, which Kirby said flat out was not a violation of the ceasefire because it was outside of the confines of Gaza. Does that make any sense to you?
No, it makes no sense. I mean, Hamas-inspired terrorists killed 3 Israelis and injured 12 at a Jerusalem bus stop. That is clear violation of the agreement that Hamas will stop terrorist activities against Israelis. If not, that means Hamas can open multiple fronts against Israel outside Gaza. It can slaughter hundreds, if not thousands, of Israelis, and that wouldn't be a violation of the ceasefire. It sounds like an absurd scenario to me.
So Israel definitely has a dilemma because it's getting hostages out day by day. This was Hamas's plan. This is why they took the hostages, so that when they're back out against the wall, they can say, oh, wait, let's stop the bombs, stop the ground operation. We have hostages in harm's way, but we're willing to deal with you to let them out. Here's what Dan Henninger said in an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal today. He said, quote, Israel said Tuesday its goal remains to dismantle Hamas. But how, when the current standoff gives Hamas an incentive to hold some hostages indefinitely? How does Israel restart military operations knowing that Hamas is out there dangling the hostages like little gifts that it can give Israel each and every day, and that if they go back to kinetic military operations, the lives of all those people will be at risk?
The Israeli leaders I spoke to and the members of the military I spoke to believe, and I think rightly so, that the reason Hamas has been willing to give up the hostages and not keep them indefinitely is because they've been under overwhelming Israeli military pressure. So I think that the assumption there is a return to military pressure is the only thing that's going to give the Israelis the leverage to try and save those lives. Otherwise, Hamas would hold on to these hostages for years and use them as emotional terrorism and emotional torture against, obviously a fragile Israeli society that celebrates life while Hamas clearly celebrates death.
All right, well, we'll keep watching this and see where it goes, but clearly Israelis are getting antsy about making sure that Hamas doesn't survive this. Mark, great to see you. Welcome back, by the way.
Thank you, John.